8:11 on a Wednesday morning. Welcome to it. It's June 7th, 2022. We're live and local weekday morning, 6 to 9. The information to begin your day with a smile or two. Welcome to the club. It's going to be another beautiful day in paradise. The sunny skies today. The KMZQ satellite weather calls for the sunshine and milder temperatures. Yesterday we hit 89. Today we'll be lucky if we see 82. How sweet is that?
All things wellness on this Wednesday. Marla Letitia is the founder of Long Life Era Community Facebook group, and she is here every Wednesday at 8:10. We call it Never Too Late. Good morning to you, Marla. Thank you for being here, as always.
Oh, I love it. I mean, I wouldn't miss it. You know that.
It is our pleasure. But you just got back from a retreat where you were exploring positivity, the proper mindset, and learning all things cool that you can bring to Long Life Era. Tell us about that.
Oh, what do you want to know?
Well, was it a weekend retreat or still days?
Well, it started on Thursday at noon and went all the way till Sunday at noon. So, I guess a full 3 days, but over 4 days.
That's pretty intense.
I'm picturing meditation and yoga. Am I?
Yeah, well, meditation for sure. Lots of meditation. There was a sound, God, I don't even know what those things are called, like sound bowl meditation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, very East Indian, Buddhist type sound bowls.
Okay.
A lot of actually American Indian traditions took place through the meditations, massages, but more importantly, that was great. I really needed that, especially after flying to North Carolina.
You don't fly well, do you?
I do not fly well. Did you notice that when I was here Wednesday?
Oh, you were just as bubbly as ever, but there was a little bit of...
Oh, man, yeah. It's really hard. I mean, I am absolutely terrified to fly, and so I have to muster up all the courage I have within my body to get through it, and it just wrecks me.
Did what you learned at the Positivity Mindset Retreat help you on the way back when it came to flying?
No.
No, okay. We're not over it yet.
Wait a minute.
No, it didn't. But I'll tell you what it did do is that, listen, I'm 70, as we know. I mean, it's still like I should be celebrating and embracing, I know, but there's still part of me that, I'm 70. But anyway, even at the age of 70, there are things that happened, things that were said to me at the age of 14 years old that I have kept within my body and that I am still running the program for, that I believed was a truth. And the process that we went through, that bubbled up to the top for me because it created a block for me being able to achieve some of the most desired goals of my life. And so we went through those processes.
At the age of 14, you were told, I mean, you don't have to get specific about it, that by the time you hit 35, you're over the hill, 40, 45, what do you...
Well, no, it wasn't necessarily about age. It was about who I was as a person.
Oh, okay, I got you.
That just kind of like, it was a trigger for me, and then I believed it because I didn't have anything that told me that I shouldn't. And then I realized at 70, that was a program that has been running my life. And I think that it's amazing to think that as, we grow old, that for decades of my life, I wasn't achieving things that were really important to me to achieve because of some teenage girl who was jealous of my clothes.
It threw something off at you, but you glommed onto it, and it became a part of your psyche.
Exactly, Andy, exactly.
Because kids, we often say kids say the meanest things because they have a tendency just to shoot from the hip and they don't filter anything, and you never know when you tell something to someone what's going to stick.
Right.
Until it sticks.
Right. And you don't even know it's sticking. It just hurts your soul, and you carry that within your body. You carry that pain within your body. And recently, while I was in North Carolina, I posted the question. Do you have the question in front of you, Mark?
I do.
Okay, read the question.
What do you think are some of the negative thoughts that hold us back from embracing this stage of our lives?
Yes.
You got quite an assortment of responses.
And it was beautiful. And one of the first things was that this is a quote now from what someone wrote on Facebook, psychologically, I think that some become bitter, and that bitterness starts ruminating through prisms of unpleasant memories.
I don't understand the bitterness just because I'm at the point in my life where I also recognize, I've had friends and colleagues that have, don't have the luxury of being here like I am. In other words, they've passed away. So on any given day when I get up, I look at it as I'm lucky. or blessed. Whatever, my term, the way I talk to myself has changed over the years too. For the longest time, I used to say I was lucky. Now I'm saying blessed. But I think the perspective, and I must have learned this from my parents because I can't figure it out any other way. The idea that age is just a number.
Right.
And I had this conversation every year on my birthday with my sister, and she says, "Well, what does it feel like to be? I'm going to be 64 this year." I said, "I don't know. What is it supposed to feel like to be 63? Because I'm still probably, a little runt kid." Or my mom used to call me the professor because I was a smart aleck kid, and she would always stop me in my tracks. She would just look at me and say, "Okay, professor," and that meant, "Okay, whatever you're doing, stop it." And so for me, I've always been maybe 4 or 5, as opposed to 14 in your case, or other people have different benchmarks when it comes to the age. So I don't know what it's like to be 63 because I haven't read what it's supposed to be like in a book. And for me, I'm just I'm trying to stay in the moment.
Which is, listen, that's the key. That right there is the answer, right? Stay present to what's going on. Don't let the past, which causes depression, sneak up on you. And anxiety is a fear of the future, right?
And I think that's probably a skill. I have no idea, but my wife tells me I'm very good at compartmentalization. In other words, when I'm done with something, I close that door and I can go somewhere else. And it never... unless somebody reminds me of something, it doesn't rise back up again.
Well, and to this gentleman's point, the bitterness that's ruminating, as he presented, is something that happened and you find yourself getting older. It's an unhealed wound, if you will, and that unhealed wound is causing bitterness, and then that bitterness says, "I'm just too old to do anything about it." And that is an untruth.
Right.
That is an untruth, right?
The biggest thing with the bitterness is just to let go of it and move on. I know that's not easy because, once again, as we say, when these things become anchors, the idea and the analogy that gets used by a lot of self-help people is, well, you know what? Then you just need to hit reset on your drive and erase that drive and rewrite the drive. That's not easy to do.
It's not, and you have to have processes like what I went through this weekend, which give you the skills to be able to do that. And just saying an affirmation over and over and over and over again doesn't do it, because you've got to go back and acknowledge what it did and your participation in allowing it to do that.
But it is reprogramming your mind to think in terms of that. Yeah, just because you say, "Boy, I wish I had a sandwich. Boy, I wish I had a sandwich," it's not going to materialize in front of you.
Correct.
But it may trigger the action to, well, let me go to the fridge and make one.
Yes,
I mean,
right.
it's the simplest and stupidest way of doing it. But when you were just talking about something you're programmed at an early age to believe, I heard, and this is decades ago, it just made me think of this, a really inspiring quote by Oscar award-winning director Ron Howard.
Oh, yes.
And I think it was right after he did Cocoon, so we're really going back to the 80s now. And he
Love that
said,
movie.
yeah, great movie. And he said, "I always thought, and I still think, that I will do my best work when I'm in my 50s. And I thought, at that age, I think he's probably 10 or 15 years older than me, so I would have been like a teenager or whatever when he said that. And I thought, wow, he's actually, in a sense, looking forward to being in his 50s, because that's when he expects to do his best work, because he will have accumulated enough experience in movie making and whatever his passions are, leading up to his 50s. And I always found that as like, God, that is a really cool perspective. I can't wait till I'm 50. Now he's probably 70. I don't know how old he's now, but maybe he's now thinking, you know what, I'm so good at this, I can't wait till I'm in my... Look at Clint Eastwood, 93 years old.
Yeah.
Still cranking out award-winning movies.
It's great. And I just want to say about myself that I actually really have felt so inspired by the work in Long Life Era that I actually realized that I truly was meant to live until now to really do my best work, to really give to the planet and to the people of this country something that they really are looking for and needing. And I really have a feeling of true purpose within this Long Life Era. And just to note just a few other things that came up for dozens and dozens of people when I asked that question, it's fear also, like fear of not being able to have the time to do the things that they wanted to do. And I'm going to try to find this, and I just did. There's one woman who wrote, she just laid it out there so beautifully. She said, fear of trying new things or ideas, fear of being rejected, fear of getting older, fear of loss of independence. And I read this right when I got out of the seminar, right when I got out of the retreat. So it was very easy for me to respond to that, which I said, how about if we just reframe that to, I have courage to try new things.
Yeah.
I will have the courage to not take it personally when I am rejected. I will have courage as I see myself getting older, or I will work hard to have independence with all the courage I have. And so if you can identify your fears about aging and reframe those fears to, I have the courage to face it, that it just feels better within you, and you can continue to grow. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, I was going to say the biggest word that you hit there, which I think for everybody is in the back of our mind, is rejection. The fear of rejection, and that once you realize that rejection is a part of the process, and that it's the way you sort of factor that in. And I've often said, you get hit and knocked down 7 times, you get up the 8th time. Because rejection is a part of the process, and once you figure out, I may not get the outcome I'm looking this time, but that doesn't mean I failed. I just got an unexpected outcome, and I need to figure out how to get to the outcome I want.
Unexpected outcome.
And that's, Mark and I like poker players. He plays, I don't, my wife plays, but I think poker playing is a great analogy for life, because in life you've got to make decisions based on incomplete information, and poker players do that every single day of the week.
Wow,
when
that's
they play
great.
hands, and that's the way life is. You can't sit there and wait for every piece of information before you make a move. So, I mean, life and poker sort of mirror each other. You just sort of have to make the best decision you can based on the information you have. Then you move forward based upon the outcome, and you continue on that journey.
And also, haven't you heard the statement, what you think of me is none of my business?
Yes.
Yes.
I love that
So
one.
I know.
I say that all the time, because I know there are people that I piss off, and now I can't be concerned with that.
Yes. And that actually was my big breakthrough, is that I've been holding myself back from working and jumping out and doing what I believe is the right thing to do for myself and for those that I love, because I was worried about what people think of me.
Yeah.
And that was a 14-year-old program, because there are people that are never going to like me no matter what I do, and that doesn't really have anything to do with me. I'm just not their
doesn't that
person.
it still pops up, though, doesn't it? And you have to deal with it, because I'm concerned with that too. We're in a business where no matter what we do, someone's not going to like us. But we all want to be liked. So you still have to deal with that and push it aside, then move on.
Well, it hasn't popped up for me since the weekend where I healed that wound, right? But I'm hoping that when it does again, it's like, hey, I just am not here for everybody. I hope that whoever does tune in gets a lot out of what I truly am offering from a very sincere place. But I'm not everybody's person, and not everybody is my person.
You're our person. We enjoy having you in here on Wednesday mornings. Good to see you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Mark.
Thank
it was
you.
great.
Long Life Era Community Facebook group.
Cool.